So right now I'm in my apartment in New York, where I've been living for the past year, because I'm currently still a student at the Juilliard School's Historical Performance Program.
I'm finishing up my last 2 weeks of my master's at Juilliard. So I graduate on the 22nd. It's very exciting.
So I just finished my junior year at Yale.
Are you even a music major, or are you one of these exceptionally amazing, talented people that can do more than music and play at such a high level, but also be majoring in something else?
Yeah, I'm majoring in history and doing music mostly as an extracurricular thing.
I just wrapped up my doctoral degree, so
probably like every person doing a dissertation's dream is that suddenly the world would stop and you actually have time to do it.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on finishing it.
Thank you.
And what is it about?
It's sort of like an early like paint by numbers, how to cook your own cadenza. So yeah,
fantastic.
What it's geared towards, yeah.
So a lot of things prompted me to apply. The first being that one of my best friends, Gertruder, was the cellist at your festival last summer. And we've actually been friends for 6 years now. We went to Northwestern together. She was just like, Drake, I think your playing is very well suited for gut. And she actually got me into Baroque with Phoebe at Juilliard as well. So that's how I started taking lessons with Phoebe. But yeah, so that prompted me to apply. Also, I'm roommates with 2 Baroque violinists. One is currently in the HP program at Juilliard, and one is going to be in HP starting next year. And her boyfriend is David BELKOVSKI, who was also there last year. So,
thank you, David. And he was going to be coming back as a Tank Trust laureate this summer, but again, we'll have to wait till next summer. So you'll be there together at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Why I applied was, so a friend of mine was part of the program. I don't remember if it was last year or the year prior, but he's the one who told me all about this. And I mean, it just sounded, he said he was playing interesting repertoire with interesting people on interesting instruments in an interesting place. I mean, it just seemed too good to pass up on. And as for my exposure to early instruments, it started actually at the beginning in my undergraduate degree. It's just kind of like a very brief exposure to harpsichord and to fortepiano. I remember I got to play on a fortepiano, and I don't have perfect pitch, but I still remember being thrown by the pitch being different. And it was this weird moment. I don't know, it made things sort of percolate in my brain where I was like, there's something cool here. Like what's going on?
Yeah, so this sonata is one in a whole series of sonatas by Pandolfi, who is an old early Baroque Italian composer. And yeah, it's a really interesting set of pieces. It's very, it's really weird, harmonically and very unexpected, and a lot of crunchy dissonances that I really enjoy. that style is that, you know, everything plays off of the bass line in all Baroque music, but especially in that style. So when I was playing it for my teachers online, and they were like, oh, maybe like you can, because my boyfriend is a musician, they said, oh, maybe you can get your boyfriend to play the bass line. And he's a trumpet player, but he also plays piano, I mean, a little bit. So I asked him to play the bass line.
That's really awesome that he learned the bass line for you. That's true love for a jazz trumpeter to do that. Oh, do we have the boyfriend?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And he's got his trumpet.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, I'm Joe. Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you. Thanks for playing in the background and playing on the Pandolfi.
Oh, my pleasure. Hopefully it's not too embarrassing or incriminating maybe on my part. So.
I think it's heroic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's interesting, actually, because he plays a lot with a band called Vince Giordano and the Nighthawks in New York, which is kind of the group that focuses on 1920s and 30s
Right.
jazz, early jazz.
You guys are like historic performance practice central there. So.
Right, yeah, kind of, yeah, surprising.
Oh, you're about to hear the 7 o'clock cheer for the health workers.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you're going to hear that through here, but yeah, every day at 7. And I'm actually in Washington Heights, so I'm actually quite close to a hospital. So it's very, very loud in my area.
I hear them really cheering loud.
Yeah, I know. It's getting rowdy. Sorry to cut you off. It's been getting longer and longer each day. It's like, it used to be 2 minutes and now it's like 5, 6 minutes. So.
So to share some music with people who don't know you yet and haven't heard you, and well, we were just really impressed with your Beethoven sonata that you submitted, so maybe they can hear a little bit of that, and who are you playing with, and where was that? And
for sure. Yeah, that was recorded at Juilliard, I think probably in November, because I had some December 1 applications. And that was with a good friend of mine, Luis Ortiz. You've probably seen him before. He plays with Gertruder as well. He plays with almost every cellist at Juilliard, so he's a busy guy.
So what I sent in for my audition was the second and third movements of Dvorak's American Quartet, and I played the first violin part for that piece last summer at the Round Top Music Festival in Texas. was a chamber music competition at the end, which my group won. So that was very exciting, and we got to play it in the final concert of the festival, and that's the recording that I sent. So.
Well, I can see why you won. It sounds beautiful. Okay, and so the music that you want to share with us today, I was thinking could just be from your audition, which we were so impressed by. So can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, the Rondo in A minor by Mozart. That was actually performed in the first round of the second round of a competition that I did a few years back.
Remembering this right from your application that you're also interested in using music somehow for social change?
Yes, yes. So I started this project at Juilliard, an ensemble called VIVIAN, the Vision Collective. And we do concerts and workshops for refugee and immigrant communities. So last year we traveled to Germany and we played at 3 refugee camps. And we were planning on, yeah, pre-COVID, in a pre-COVID world, we were planning on traveling back to Germany for 2 week-long workshops at 2 different camps. And then we were also going to go to Greece for a series of workshops in partnership with El Sistema Greece, because they work with a lot of refugee populations. So yeah, and we actually just found out on Monday, I think, that we got the entrepreneurship grant from Juilliard. So we'll be able to go on these trips at some point when all of this kind of, works itself out. But yeah, it's very, very exciting stuff.
I'm supposed to music direct an undergraduate production of DIDO and AENEAS with the opera company at Yale. And I think, if for some reason we are still doing online classes in the fall and we're not on campus and able to put that show together in person, we're going to try to do it virtually and record segments and then kind of slice them together into a larger movie and make that a fun quarantine project. So I'm really excited to work on that with people.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So if it was in person, would you have been leading from the violin, or would you
Yes.
be okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would be
yeah, go ahead.
I would be sort of in charge of rehearsals and coachings for the singers and also for the orchestra, and then in the actual performance I'd be leading from my chair. Yeah,
that's a fantastic experience and a wonderful piece.
Yes, I think also I've done just a little tiny bit of sort of virtual ensemble playing the last few months with friends, and it does, it presents kind of unique musical challenges to try and sync up with someone that you're not in a room with. And I think we might actually come out of this whole experience better ensemble players for having to kind of overcome those challenges.
And maybe just for people that are watching this who might not know what a cadenza is, maybe just could you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so the cadenza, I think the best comparison to make is just like it's a solo. It's like in a I don't know, in like a rock song or something. There's a guitar solo. And in a piano concerto, there's a piano solo. Like everything, it's a slightly different in that, you know, the orchestra leads up to this big sort of pseudo climax, and then everything stops, and spotlight shines on the keyboardist, and they play alone for a while, and then the orchestra comes back in, everybody together. But it's the same idea. It was just like it's, you know, everybody really, this is what back in the day, this is what people were waiting for. If you were playing a concerto, they wanted to see this part. They were listening to the other part as well, but like, you know, there was something just about the aesthetic of the cadenza where it was, you know, for a moment, the structure of the piece was suspended, and you went off into this sort of fantastical musical landscape for about like between a minute and a half. So it has a lot of rhetorical potency because, you know, everything stops and there's this sort of hushed silence, and then there's just one instrument playing alone. So it's a pregnant moment.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having some time to work on improvising too, because that's something that I haven't had that much experience doing, but my boyfriend being a jazz musician, I figure, I don't know, to get some of that. I think being classical musicians, especially like classically trained in a very traditional way, it's hard. It's been hard for me to kind of be okay with playing something and it not sounding very good. And whenever you start something for the first time, you know, especially with improvising, it's like you're gonna have so many things that aren't very good. And so I think just like getting beyond that is the biggest part for me in improvising. And so I guess just like doing it lots and getting used to, you know, having some bad things come out is something I want to work on over the summer. Yeah.
It's very freeing. I mean, it's kind of nice. Maybe during this time you can experiment with that, and it'll be
Yeah, and I don't have to, you know, do it in front of people for a while.
A lot of time to sound really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations. Good luck on wrapping up your important time at Juilliard. This is a big step.
I know. Yep, Zoom graduation is the next thing coming. So
okay. Anyway, we're so excited to have you be part of Valley of the Moon Music Festival. We can't wait to start working with you.
Yeah, me
too. In the meantime, enjoy North Carolina. Get some sleep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
So we'll definitely stay in touch. And thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited for whatever the future holds.
Can we hear you just play a tiny bit of trumpet? Would you be willing to?
Oh, a little bit of trumpet. Wow.
Like 2 notes.
I guess.
They don't have to use it. It's not.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what to play. But see here.
Awesome. Thanks for that. That was a treat. And now I get the full experience of how you're sheltered in place.
Right, yeah.